What to do, everyone? My name is Ver, and I'm not sure if anyone else thought this growing up, but I used to think making six figures was a dream. One comment on one of my previous videos requested I make a video about my job, how I got it, and how much money I make from it. And then that got me thinking, I could do that, but then I realized I actually make money not just from my one job, and I make money from multiple income streams. I actually recall a couple videos about YouTubers, how they were able to build up multiple income streams, making six figures in a month in their 20s. Yo, I'm still in my 20s. How do I get in on that? I just turned 29 and I'm working on it, but majority of people actually don't have more than just one job, let alone are able to even reach a six-figure salary. Those videos inspired this video, so I'll be breaking down all my income sources, how and why I was able to establish those, and the timeline it took to get each and every one of those off the ground. The point of this video is not to boast how much I make, even though the title might allude to that or might seem a little bit clickbaity. The important part is not to focus too much on how much I make, but on the process and fundamentals it took to get to where I am today, so you can potentially follow these steps, build out multiple income streams, and make a little bit of money. So the first income stream, and the one that produces most of my annual salary, is my full-time job as a software engineer. This story starts all the way back in 2010, where I graduated in a small town in Washington State, and then 3 months later I left my mom and my friends to attend college at the University of Texas at Austin. You might be wondering, why did I decide to go there of all places? I applied to many state schools in Washington State and then decided to only apply to one out-of-state school. Texas was pitched to me by a relative that happened to come from Texas, that had a great engineering program, and their out-of-state tuition wasn't as much as other out-of-state schools. I was very fortunate to have the out-of-state portion waived from my tuition from my dad's benefits, so I decided to go to Texas. I was admitted to Texas as an undeclared major, but I had the intention of transferring into the engineering school to major in chemical engineering. That was then derailed by average grades, realizing I wasn't as smart as I thought I was in math and physics, and then after 2 failed attempts of trying to transfer into the engineering school, that led me to my major in computer science. 4.5 years later, I graduated at the end of 2014 with a bachelor's of science in computer science, and then I got a full-time job working as a software developer for a major car manufacturer company. A few years later, my then girlfriend, now fiance, and I moved to Los Angeles in 2016, where I took a job as a technical solutions analyst, which is just a fancy term for a business analyst, or more simply, a customer support tier 2, maybe tier 3. Regardless, it wasn't a software engineering role, and it wasn't until 2018 I was able to transition back into an associate software engineer role, making $100,000 a year. In this job, it's the typical programming stuff you would expect: hoodies, dark rooms, and countless hours of just typing code. I'm totally kidding, it actually looks a little bit more like this. My team implements Elasticsearch and builds infrastructure and services around the technology. Nothing crazy, but definitely solving challenging problems every day, hence the large portion of my salary, which I believe this year my gross income will be around $107,000, not including stock benefits. But this is where I would have ended the video a few years ago, because I used to think, get good grades, graduate college, get a job, and that is it for life. Then that's where my next income source comes in. My second income stream is being an IT consultant or a part-time software developer. Having a programming background actually helps with picking up different languages, technologies, and interests. In 2016, just a couple years after I graduated college, I was able to pick up a part-time software developer job for a small mobile app development team working on health apps. Mobile programming is different from web programming or back-end development, but I did work on some mobile apps back in college on some projects, so having that experience, I was able to manage these apps for a few months, making an extra $900 a month. More recently, I do some part-time work as an IT consultant for a fashion label based out here in Los Angeles, as well as doing some IT admin / WordPress development work for a global nonprofit organization. The hours on this varies a lot, and that's because I do work after my full-time work hours or I work on breaks, but basically since there is no definitive number to it, On average, I would make an additional $15,000 a year on these part-time jobs. The running total now is $122,000, but there is one very significant thing I'd want to mention at this point in the video, and that thing is time. So far, I've mentioned my full-time software engineering role, and then not one, but two part-time jobs. With the current pandemic going on, I'm just at home. There are times where I do work more hours for my full-time job outside of the normal 40 hours a week, but my salary is still capped at $107,000. Then you have your own personal time after hours where you could go drink a cup of wine, or you can go play video games. But what I decided to do this year, since I'm just at home, is picking up these two part-time jobs. There are pros and cons to this arrangement. Some pros: I get to work on things outside of my normal responsibilities for my full-time job. I get exposure to other types of industries and organizations. And of course, I get to make more money. Basically, what I can do is just shut down my full-time work laptop and then turn on my other laptop to work on my part-time tasks. Full disclosure, this practice of working a part-time job with a full-time job is called moonlighting. There is no law against this, but there are company policies that may or may not let you do this. So what I did was I first looked at my employee handbook, I then asked my manager, who then asked his superiors, and then I got permission to work this part-time job as long as there was no conflict of interest. If you do decide to try this, make sure it is allowed with permission and in writing. The third income source is actually something I started just a few years ago, and that is saving and investing.
But what do you mean saving and investing as an income source, Ver?
Well, viewer, let me tell you. There is a rate of return with saving and investing that you may not realize. So let me explain a little bit. First, say you spend $1,000 a month on essential spending, like with your mortgage or rent and your food. But then say you are able to lower one of these factors, like you are able to move to a cheaper place, and then now you're only spending $800 a month on essential spending. You now have an extra $200 a month to save and invest, essentially increasing your income by $200 per month. Next, say you take that $200 and put it into a high interest savings account with an APY of 0.5% per year. That $200 will make you an extra $1 per year. $2,000, that'll give you $10. $20,000, that will give you an extra $100 per year. You get the picture, but putting money into a savings account that gives you a rate of return generates money. And last, say instead of putting that money into a savings account, you decide to put it into stocks, bonds, index funds, or even real estate. Say you have the stock market and invest in an index fund like the S&P 500, which averages about a 7% rate of return, adjusted for inflation with dividends reinvested. You also have real estate, which is a very broad investment class where the ROI on that could be way more. The point I'm getting at with my third income source is that any money that I have left over after my essential spending, I save and invest. I personally invest mainly in index funds, in a taxable account, in a Roth IRA, in an HSA, and my 401k through my work. I also want to invest in real estate, so any short-term cash that I have left over, I park in a savings account as well. From all these accounts, these generate an additional $4,000 a year on average, but I essentially take those earnings and then reinvest them so then I can make more money in the future. My fourth income stream is not as traditional as the previous three, but this one I have a business partner with, and that is mortgage equity. Since I co-own a home, we pay down a mortgage, and every time a mortgage payment goes in, we gain equity in our home instead of paying, say, rent, and then that money just goes away forever. Most of you might be thinking,
No, this isn't an income stream. Well, you're paying down a mortgage, so you're not making money, you're just spending money.
You're not wrong, but hear me out on this. Every month, we pay our mortgage where a portion of it does go to interest, but then the other portion of it goes to equity in our home. Over 30 years, that loan will be paid off, and then me and my business partner, if we decided to sell, would be able to get that money back and then some, assuming a little bit of appreciation. Can you do that with rent? Unfortunately, you can't, so with mortgage equity, that does count as an income source. At this time, our current mortgage payment is about $3,450, where majority of it is interest, but then $800 of that goes to the mortgage equity, and then over time, that will increase over 30 years, so per year, we are paying ourselves $9,600 a year, which half of that is an additional $4,800 to me. Think of it as like a forced savings. This next income source isn't significant, but I do believe it's worth mentioning because it has a lot of potential, and that is my e-commerce store. A few weeks ago, I was introduced to the Life Hacker Couple YouTube channel where they have a 5-part video series on launching an Etsy store leveraging the print-on-demand service Printful. Basically, you can open an Etsy store and then put a logo on a t-shirt or anything in Printful's catalog that they have available, all without having to order any physical inventory to be shipped to your home. When a customer orders a t-shirt or a hat or anything with a design on your Etsy store, it prints and then it gets shipped directly to the buyer and then you get paid. I only tried this with a shirt and a hat and was able to get just 10 sales in a month. So like I said, not significant, but the profits from this 1 month was around $40 to $50. Over a year, that's around $600 additional. So you can see the potential here. And my 6th and last income source is YouTube. I'm half serious and kidding on this one though, because I'm not currently monetized on YouTube, but it has the potential to be another income stream. The reason I mention this is because 1, I enjoy making videos and sharing knowledge with anyone willing to watch me, and 2, sure, it has the potential to make money in the future if I do get monetized. This all started with me saying,
I just need to start this.
I have some things I want to share with the world, and at first I didn't think anyone would watch my videos, but a good friend of mine encouraged me to start, and so I did. I set a couple goals at the beginning of this year, like posting 1 video every week for a total of 52 videos. I actually think I reached that goal just last week, so that's really cool. I also set a goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers in this year, so if you haven't already done so and you like this content, please consider obliterating the like button and subscribing to my channel. The overall lesson of this video is not that $131,400 figure. It is this: do not rely on one source of income. You should also learn to leverage your time to maximize how much you can earn. Remember what I said earlier in the video. I used to think that it's just get good grades, graduate college, get a job, and that is it. But now I realize anything can happen. A pandemic can hit, and nothing is guaranteed. So knowing these things is a very powerful thing and acts as a hedge to protect yourself and provide you flexibility on your time as desired. Notice how majority of my 6-figure salary comes from my main job, but as we've seen this year, many can lose their job at any time. Just some food for thought just in case anything happens. All this wasn't started overnight, and it took me over a decade just to get to where I am right now. I've only been working professionally for 6 years, but there are so many other people who make way more than me just from one job or by having multiple streams of income. Some of those people can have a college degree like me, or others could be college dropouts who make almost 6 figures a month. I still have goals to increase the number of income sources as well as the amount with things like real estate investing, growing in the e-commerce space, growing in my career, as well as YouTube. It does take time, but with consistency and patience, in the long term, these things have the potential to give me options in the future. With that said, everyone, thanks so much for watching my video. If you haven't already done so, please obliterate the like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell so you know the next time I post a video on my channel. Here's my Instagram. I post there from time to time. I posted pretty recently about how my meat was raw on a takeout order. Confused a lot of people, but we do have fun on there, so please feel free to add me there. Also, if you're interested on getting started in investing, there are a few links in the description below, one to Webull, one to Robinhood. You can get 5 free stocks where if you deposit $100 to Webull, you can get 4 free stocks where one of those stocks will be valued up to $1,600. Robinhood will give you a free one. There's another link to Yada Bank where you could potentially win $10 million. And one last thing, if you go to millennial.investments, you can sign up for a newsletter for a website that will launch in the new year where me and a couple friends will be bringing you more content just like this. With the knowledge that you gain from this video, let's get to work.
Bye.